So, many times when I'm stumbling my way through a game of World of Warships and I ask myself the eternal question, is what I'm about to do a good play? Usually the answer is no, of course not. You're playing a game arena sitting 7 kilometers from 3 radar cruisers. Why are you even asking yourself that question? Get out of there! And, while I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree, Merry Christmas to all those celebrating, I ask myself an even greater question. What makes a truly great or good player in World of Warships? Well, look no further, because that's what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to go over a couple of different aspects ranging from good behaviour, a learning mindset, good objective gameplay, and predicting the future. That last one might seem a little out of place, but bear with me, and all will be revealed. God, I sound like a magician. Anyways, onto the actual content before I waste any more of your time. So first on the list is good behaviour, and this might seem counterintuitive. I mean, you can behave well all you want, it doesn't mean you're suddenly going to turn into a godlike player, and you might think the only real tangible benefit to good behaviour inside the game is the lower chance you have of being reported after you die trying to knife fight a Grozavoy in your Shimakaze. But that's not the case. There's many more benefits that might not reveal themselves immediately. Let's say hypothetically, not that this has ever happened to me, that you get put into a tier 10 battle on a ship that you don't have all that much experience on, and as a result, as you can probably tell, it isn't going to go all that well. At this point you have two options available to you. One, you can react angrily to people trying to either give you advice on your ship, as they can see that you're playing like a potato, or just telling you what not to do, like loading AP on the Conqueror. Or two, you can ask for further advice on how to play that same Conqueror, or any ship for that matter, in a nice and calm tone. Which method here is going to both help you improve your gameplay and actually increase your chances of winning the game by not tilting both yourself and your teammates. I'll give you a couple of seconds. It's number 2. But in all seriousness, going into a game and actually acting like you want to play the game, even having a joke with those on your team, like I do when I stream on Twitch, link in the description below, can have a really positive effect on how much you enjoy the game, and even how quickly you improve. Whereas going in with the mindset that you're the only competent player on your entire team is a surefire way to make sure that you lose the game and your karma plummets through the floor faster than an asteroid heading on a collision course with the Earth. If you couple this good behaviour with an assertive attitude, i.e. asking people questions in a nice tone on things you're not sure about, then the rate of improvement can only increase. Remember, people are always more willing to help people that are nice to them than those who act like they're superior to them. Didn't think I'd be ending this segment on a life lesson, but there you go. If you disagree with some of the things I mentioned here, leave a comment below. I always enjoy reading some differing opinions to my own. Anyways, on to the next one. Next on the chopping block is the learning mindset, and I went through this in a more rambly explanation in one of my previous videos. I'll provide a link to it somewhere on the screen and at some point throughout the video, as I can barely remember what I did yesterday, never mind when to put a video link in a video at an appropriate time. Anyways, what is a learning mindset? A learning mindset basically is when you go into a game with a predetermined goal in mind. This could be something as simple as this game I want to spend less time on autopilot than my previous game. So you go into a game with that exact goal in mind. It doesn't matter if you lose, or even if you win, or even if you spawn on 2 brothers and your whole team decides to go down middle. Well, it might matter, but not hugely then. Anyways, all that truly matters is that you have to try and remain focused, and not autopilot for as much of the game as possible. After the game ends, you basically evaluate how you did, and how you feel you did, and then you see some small areas where you could have improved, and try to implement them in the next game. For example, say you zoned out at the start of the game while you were getting into position, and as a result you overextended and ended up dying. So next game you'll make a conscious effort to start the game focused, and that's your aim for the following game. This method basically creates habits that will become second nature if repeated long enough, and as a result you'll become a much better player as a result of the learning mindset. In essence, this is just spaced repetition, but again, that's all in that other video that I hope I've linked by now. Leave a comment if there's perhaps a more efficient way that you use in order to learn the game, or berate me for not linking that video. The choice is yours. Anyways, that pretty much sums up this point fairly nicely, so let's move along to the next one. So this is the part of the video where I describe objectively good gameplay, even though I wouldn't have any idea what objectively good gameplay looks like, even if it came up and slapped me across the face. So take this with a little grain of salt. It's not meant to be 100% accurate. But from my understanding, objectively good gameplay is generally what every player who enters a game of World of Warships hoped they could achieve. This involves knowing your ship, knowing the enemy ships, having an absolute godlike understanding of positioning, and being able to hit pretty much all of the shots you take. And these things all play into what is considered objectively good gameplay. And well, this is the most important characteristic of what makes a good player in World of Warships. You can have the best mindset in the game, you can have the best behaviour possible, but those are all secondary to just knowing how to play the game well. And I could go on to say how only a very small percentage of people will ever get this close to this level of gameplay in any game, never mind in World of Warships in particular, but it is a very fundamental part of a good player, so it must be mentioned, even if it is still very, very unattainable. Anyways, on to the final topic for discussion. So at long last we get to the final point, and it's a bit of an esoteric point, but has a pretty important meaning within the context of World of Warships, and it's none other than predicting the future. So how does this relate to World of Warships? You're probably thinking that this is as similar to World of Warships as pouring a glass of water down a drain is as similar to a tsunami. So when I say predicting the future, I mean it in the context of being able to predict with a high degree of certainty what a certain player is going to do next. Now obviously some players are basically as random as the next digit of pi, but in general, and especially as you go into higher tiers of gameplay and you go up against better and better players, a lot, and I mean a lot of the decisions players make just aren't going to be random. And as a result, if something isn't random in nature, then it can be predicted. Kind of like going fishing in a barrel literally filled with fish. It's going to be pretty easy to predict that you're going to catch a fish. And in a similar vein, it's going to be pretty simple that when you're playing that Holland and you see an enemy heading towards the cap you want to contest, it probably is a better idea to go to another cap because you aren't probably going to be able to do anything but die if you stay uncontested. And this in essence is the method of predicting the future, so to speak, that you should be looking to implement into your own games and your own method of playing in order to improve your gameplay level. And not be like me and run into a game, die within 3 minutes, and then spend the remaining 17 minutes complaining to my team about the state of the game. I swear that only happened once, I think. But I've been playing this game for a while, so maybe my memory isn't as good as it used to be. That sums up pretty much everything for another video. If you have any questions about anything I said, leave a comment down below. I might not be able to respond to them all, but I do read them all. And if you disliked it, tell me why below too. As always, I'll see you all in the next one.